Hey guys, welcome to Troy Time. I'm glad you're here. Check it out, this is what we're doing today. We're going to can some beef. We're going to do a cold pack on some London broil. And I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why you should do it right now. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to start off with our getting our canner ready. This is our Nesco canner. I love this Nesco canner. It's also the exact same brand as Carey. These are awesome. You can pick these up so cheap right now, guys. They're less than $100. I think I saw them on Amazon for $97, which is a steal. Some of you guys that have done some canning with these All-American canners and things like that, yeah, they last a long, long time, but man, they're up there. They're $300, $400. So getting one of these for under $100 is a steal. It's awesome. Awesome. I love it. I use them all the time. I actually prefer the electric canners because they do everything automated for you. You don't have to sit and watch and monitor the whole process. But you do have to sit and watch right now, so let's see what we're going to do. We're going to open up the canner. We're going to make sure that we got our little spacer rack on the bottom, and we're going to open up the jars. We're using quart jars today. These are ball quart jars. What we're going to do is we're going to take the lid off of these. We're going to soak these lids in this bowl of water right here. So they're going in the water to start with. We got to load some water into the canner. So we're going to put about 2.5 of these quart jars into the canner to start with. So this is what that's going to look like right in the canner. This is just lukewarm water. We're doing a cold pack today, so that means basically it's cold water that goes, not cold, but lukewarm water that goes in there. If we were doing a hot pack, then we would have the water boiling and heating up everything beforehand. Doing a cold pack basically means that we're packing the meat while it's raw. Okay? So it's the simplest and easiest way to go, and it's quick. Quick, easy to prepare. The whole process of getting everything in there is probably going to take about 20 minutes. So it's not a problem, and you're going to get several meals out of it. So there's 2.5 quarts of water. We're going to open up the rest of our jars and get our lids soaking. Set our rims aside. Yeah, so the reasons that you want to can your food is because, one, using a canner like this is, one thing is, you're going to save a ton of money, okay? So I got this top round, beef top round London broil on sale. Whenever something's on sale, you can buy it in bulk. You can throw it in the canner, you can preserve it, and it'll be ready to go. And you don't have to worry about trying to keep it frozen or in the fridge or anything like that. You're going to have meals ready to go. They're going to come out of this thing cooked, ready to eat, and also in their own broth. So it's you could actually eat them just right out of the can, but generally you just can heat them up in a pan or a microwave 2 minutes and you're ready to go. Okay? But so let's get started. So to prepare our meat now, all we have to do, we're using London broil. The reason that we like London broil, especially for this, is that London broil has almost no fat whatsoever. Okay? Generally it's considered kind of a tough cut, but that's awesome for preservation because when you're preserving meat, you don't want fat in there. And then when it goes through the pressure cooking process, it's going to tenderize the meat, so it's perfect for that. So you can usually get London broil fairly cheaply. I like to get it on sale. This we got on sale for $2.99 a pound, or is it $3? It's $3.99 a pound, and it's usually available. It's not like during the pandemic you couldn't find a lot of meat, but usually some of the sort of off cuts like the London broil was available. So it's just a great thing to use, and it's the one I prefer to do when I'm cold packing beef, like we are today. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this into about 1-inch cubes. You're going to see how quick this goes. You could wear gloves if you want. I'm not going to today. I'm just going to throw them in the bucket. So there's almost no fat to trim. So I just cut it down a slice, 2 more slices across, and in the bowl. Okay. The cuts I'm making are roughly about 1 inch, maybe a little larger on some of them. You can go some a little larger, some a little smaller. That's about the average size. Okay. And they're just going right in the bucket. So as I'm doing this, I'll try and talk at the same time. We'll see how that works out. But so it's very cost effective to can your food. So you can get a lot of things. Mostly I can beef or meat. Okay, beef, chicken, pork, all different kinds of meat, and turkey as well. You can can vegetables and stuff too. I don't do a lot of that. Mostly I can meat. And so you can get it in bulk, and then you can store it away. You can throw it in the freezer and then thaw it out and can it when you have time, or you can just can it, while it's still fresh before you freeze it. Like I say, I like using the London broil. And if you can get the meat on sale and can it away, it's going to work out really well for you. So it is going to save you a lot of money in the long run. The other thing it's going to do is it's going to save you time. Okay, so for instance, when we get done here, we're going to have somewhere between 6 to 8 pounds of meat in these 4 jars, and so that's a lot of meals. Let's say if we get 8 pounds, let's say if we get all 8 pounds packed away, and each meal is a half a pound. That's 16 meals that you're going to basically use about 20 minutes of your time to prepare. So it's going to save you a lot of time. Those are going to be cooked, already cooked, ready to go. If it's a weeknight and you come home and you want something good to eat, it's already cooked, it's already prepared. You just got to warm it up, and you can have a nice hot meal on the table. Okay. Some of the things that I use this meat for. So the main thing about this is when you're canning this meat, we're cutting it into cubes, but when it comes out, it's basically going to be shredded. Okay, as soon as you touch it with a fork, it's going to go into like a shredded consistency. It still tastes good. When you can it, you know, some of my military people are wondering, you know, hey, I know you do that canning. Does it taste like sea rations? No, it doesn't taste like sea rations. Okay, it tastes just like meat. It tastes just like what it's supposed to. You won't even be able to tell the difference if something was canned or not, except that the canning stuff, it's going to have the texture of like a shredded beef. So it's going to save you time. So when I bust open a jar of this on a weeknight, it's usually, you know, two minutes in the microwave, and then it's heated up, it's ready to go. Okay. Some of the things that you can use this on, that I do use this on, that I love using this on, nachos, right? Great for nachos. Boom, shred it up, put them right over the chips with some salsa. You're good to go. Cheese, jalapenos, whatever you like. Also, burritos. It's good in burritos. Also, my favorite, the one I do the most is I'll do a beef and cheese. What do you call it? Give me a second, guys. Beef and cheese. What do you call it? In a tortilla. Somebody help me. Not an enchilada. Quesadillo. Yes, that was the word I was searching for. Beef and cheese quesadillas. This beef is awesome in those. So that's kind of the Mexican thing. But you can also have it with mashed potatoes. You can have it over rice. You can have it over pasta. All those meals are just ready, you know, ready to go. Open the jar, heat it up, and you're good to go. So over rice, over pasta with mashed potatoes. I've even eaten this over French fries. So it's really good. You can put it in soups, right? You can put it in chili. You can do. There's a little bit of fat on this. We'll take that off. It's really, really good in chili. It's good in soups. I put it in my ramen, as you've already seen. If you have not checked out my video on how to make a superfood soba, yeah, I use that was actually chuck roast, but most of the time that I'm doing it, I'm using London broil, going right in that soba, and it's really, really good. So yeah, so just right there, I might have missed some because it's actually kind of hard to talk and do this at the same time, but. Yeah, so there's just tons of different meals, and they're just ready to go, and it makes weeknight cooking easy, right? So that's one thing. So it's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to save you a lot of money. And then obviously the third reason why you would want to do it is because you're going to have all your food preserved, which is awesome as far as food security and emergency preparedness. So along that line, so today we're going to end up probably canning about 8 pounds of meat. So think about that now. So if I run this canner just one weekend, just one day a month, right? So that's 12 times that you run it with 8 pounds of meat in it. So if you do that for a year, if you do it for a year, once a month, 12 times, you're going to have 96 pounds, almost 100 pounds of meat preserved in 1 year, just running it one time a month. So like I said, you're going to see this whole process takes about 20 minutes. And then, so 20 minutes a month, and then a year from now, you'll have a great pantry full of food, ready to go, already cooked, in a gravy, and you can have a lot of variety. Today we're doing beef, but you could just as easily do chicken or pork or turkey or what have you. So I love using the canner. I've been using it for a couple years. It's great to have that ability to put food away, and you know, you can some people give away as gifts as well. You can give them a jar. Some, I see them with little ribbons on them and things like that. But yeah, it's just a great idea. Put some food away. Be ready for, you know, different events that happen. We just came out of the pandemic. You know, meat was really tough to come by in a lot of places there. Tensions are heating up around the world. I'm not going to get too much into it, but you know, it's just a good idea to put some food away. Yeah, so this is why we're doing it today. What else? Let's see. London Broil. We're almost done here. Oh, the Carey Canner. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about it, but the electric canner, basically, it's fairly new on the scene. They've only been out for 2 or 3 years. They're great. You just, basically, you set them. You've got to wait about 10 minutes for everything, or 10, 20 minutes for everything to get going, and then you flip the switch, and then you can walk away. And it's going to take, the canning process, the whole thing is going to take about 3 hours, but because you have to cook it, and then there's a cool down period. But you're only really spending about 20 minutes of time getting it prepared. So, excuse me 1 second. Oops. Hopefully I'll edit that out. All right, so beef's all chopped up. We're good to go. Time to prepare the jars now. Put the beef in the jars. Boop, boop, boop. It's a little weird to do this for the camera. I haven't made a lot of videos yet, and so I'm not the best videographer, but I'm getting there. So, accessories that you're going to use. This little funnel here works great. We're using quart jars. This one works for quart and wide mouth jars. I like the wide mouth jars better. You can use narrow mouth jars as well. It doesn't really matter. But so all we're going to do now is we're just going to take our beef chunks and we're going to fill this up. We're going to leave about 1 inch of room, what they call headspace at the top. Just going to kind of push them in there. Each one's going to hold roughly about 2 pounds of meat, give or take. Just like that. Bam. Okay. So I'm going to go around and fill them mostly up, and then we'll kind of tweak it a little bit at the end and make them all the little measurements right. But we're just going to kind of go through this. Yeah, I use my canner. Like I say, even if you just use it once a month, you have a large pantry full of stored, preserved food pretty quickly. Let's see. So yeah, so we're using quart jars today, but you could use pint jars. And if you were doing pint jars, you're going to get about 1 pound of meat in each jar. They cook for a slightly shorter amount of time, but we'll talk about the cook times here in a minute. But yeah, so this canner here will hold 4 quarts or 5 pints. So if you're doing pints, you can do 5 pints or 5 pounds of meat. You don't need to do that much. You can use, you do want to keep the canner full so that the jars aren't banging around in there. So if you were doing, let's say you're doing 4 pounds of meat or whatever, and you had 4 pints and you had a 5 pint capacity, you would just put an empty jar in there filled with water, just to keep them from rolling around. All right, so now I'm just pushing in these final ones. So what I like to do, you can see on camera, kind of do one of these. Sometimes you don't want to pack them in there too tight, but so I'm going to use as a what's called a debubbler. When you got the fluid in there, you use this to debubble, but I use this to kind of just work everything around on the sides and just get a good fit. You don't want to force it too much, but just make sure that, you know, it's all kind of snug in there together, about like that. This one can actually take another small piece too. And it's good sometimes. Another tip is to take, if you've got a piece, cut up some small ones to kind of fill in some of the gaps as well. So I just made a couple small ones, so now we can kind of fit one right there. And then we'll just bang this one out a little bit. And then we'll press it down with our debubbler. Go around the edges. Kind of take away some of those air gaps. And now we've got room for a couple more up top. Beautiful. Same thing here. That one's good. And handy dandy little debubbler. I know we're not debubbling, but you use this when you're hot packing, you'll fill these up with water, and so you're actually removing the air and it bubbles up, so that's why they call it a debubbler. I've got a little bit more in this one. These two right here, bam, bam. All right, so we're gonna call that filled. So we've got maybe a pound left here, but this is probably about 8 pounds or so, 7 or 8 pounds of meat right there. We're gonna do something different with that. Maybe we'll make some beef jerky out of it or something, but for today, for right now, we'll put it aside. All right, so our jars are ready, okay? So now what we have to do is, let me take just a little bit of the meat. Let me get it off my hand. All right. So now what we have to do is we're going to put a little bit of salt. Okay. You don't have to use salt. You do it for flavor. It's not doing anything preservation wise, but it's just kind of keeping it a good flavor. Bringing out some of the juices. It's going to bring out some of the juices of the meat. You're going to use about a teaspoon. So I'm just going to go a little bit on top, about a teaspoon each one. The thing about the salt is you want to use a pickling or canning salt. You can don't use an iodized salt. If you use an iodized salt, it will cloud up the jar. You can use just regular salt with no iodine. You could do that non-iodized or whatever the trim is for that. All right, so there's our salt, and now we're going to clean around the rim. So especially if you're doing stuff that's got some liquid on it or whatever, but even you're always going to do this. Take a little bit of vinegar. This is just white vinegar. Soak it on a paper towel and just go around the rim. Go around the rim right there. Slide it around on the inside a little bit, on the outside and the top. Just kind of get all the, if there's any fat or any juices, or if you were canning something with like barbecue sauce or whatever, you're just trying to clean it off really well and make sure you get a nice good seal on the lid. Get rid of any oils. Just right around the rim, a little bit around, rub it right around the inside. Perfect, very nice. Okay, so that's our setup and we're good to go. We are gonna add now a little bit of water. When you are cold packing, the raw meat's gonna make some juices, but they're not gonna be quite enough usually to fill up the whole jar. So we're gonna add a little bit, maybe about an inch or two on the bottom of water to these. You could also add beef broth. So we're gonna have to come back with our bubbler. Just a couple inches, just to give it a good head start so that you don't have a big air gap on the top where the meat's out exposed, because it will start to look not so nice if that happens. Whoa, where's my debubbler? I used a clear piece of plastic and now I can't find it. Here we go. So yeah, so just so that water can get down to the bottom, I'm just doing my debubbler along the sides. And you'll see as you kind of press inward from the edge, if you press inward from the edge, it'll just kind of go right down. All right, so let's see how much we got in there. It's about an inch. I could go a little more on these. Doo-doo-doo. You don't want to get too much in there. If you get too much, you can have a problem with it sealing, and you can siphon. It'll siphon out sometimes, but I think we'll be good here. All right, so should have done that before I cleaned my rim. So I have to clean the rims again now. Take my vinegar around the rim, around the rim, around the rim. Very nice. Okay, so now time for the lids. Out of the water, onto the cans. Right on top, right on top, right on top, right on top. All right, and then we have our rims, our lids, our rims I should say, finger tight, okay? You don't want to do it too hard, not too much of a twist, just about finger tight, and then I give it just a couple extra little taps. There we go. If you crank them down too hard, then it won't have a chance to seal properly, right? So then we just take these here. This is our handy dandy little grabber. And we're gonna load our jars up. 4 jars in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to be mindful as to where this little button is going to hit. So that's our air escape, and I'm just going to be mindful that it's not directly over a jar. I want it to be over a space. All right. And then we're going to put this down. We're going to make sure that we are on exhaust. All right. We are on exhaust. We are going to go high. We're going to set the time to 90 minutes because we are using quarts. So quarts get 90 minutes. 90 minutes, and then we're going to hit start after we tighten down the lid. I may have to edit that out. Okay, so after we get 90 minutes, we're high for 90 minutes, and we go start. Our lid is closed, and we are set to exhaust. Okay, so it's going to take about 20 minutes or so to heat up, and then it's going to exhaust for about 10 minutes. It's going to be a 10-minute countdown. And then we're going to flip it to airtight, and then it's going to go for 90 minutes. All right, so it's been about 20 minutes or so, 15 maybe, and our canner has now switched to E10. So I think of that like exhaust for 10 minutes. So this is going to count down from 10 to 0, and when it does, then we will come back and see it. All right, so about 10 minutes has expired. We're down to E1. And in just a moment, it's going to go to E0 and have a very quiet alarm. If I had one critique, it's that this alarm is not loud enough. So you just want to be present during this E process here. Yeah. Okay. I prefer to be able to hear that from another room. But yeah, so it's going to flash E0. When it does, all you have to do is flick this little knob right up here. Just put it on airtight. Bonk. Just like that. And then it's going to build up pressure. In a few moments, this is going to start, the LEDs will do what we call a running cycle. It'll kind of wind around a little bit. And then your timer will start from 90 minutes. Okay? So, I don't know if this is going to start here, but I'll bring you back when it does. Alrighty. It's been just maybe 3 minutes, and the LEDs have started a little run pattern. And it'll probably be another 3 minutes or so, and then you're going to see the countdown timer start. Also, what you might notice up top here, there's a little red button or a little red nipple right there, and it pops up as it pressurizes, and that's what's basically going to hold the pressure in. But we are on airtight. We haven't touched it since we flicked that little switch, and yeah, we're just waiting for it to switch over to 90. And we'll be back. There you go, baby. So it's switched to 90. There's a good amount of steam coming out the top, as you can tell. That's going to calm down once it stabilizes, and it'll be nice and quiet, and you won't even really have that steam going like that. But it's going to count down from 90. By the way, now would be a good time to tell you that this exact same process you would use if you were doing pints. But instead of 90 minutes, you would set the timer for 75 minutes. Okay? Yeah, so that's basically everything's almost done. We'll bring you back here at the end to show you when we take them out and show you what the final product looks like. Yeah, don't let it intimidate you. This thing's great. There's tons of safety features on it and everything. It's not like the old days, you know, with the canners. These are real safe. They're really great to use. I love using it, and I think it's a great thing for everyone to put some food away. So. Yeah, any final thoughts here? Let's see. No, I don't think. I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah, we'll see in a little bit. Okay, so what's going to happen here is this is going to count down to 90, and then it takes about it's going to stay off, and then it takes about an hour for it to depressurize, for it to self-depressurize. And so basically we'll be here for an hour and a half plus the hour cool down period. And so that's 2.5 hours. So 2.5 hours from now, that little red nipple is going to go down, and then we'll be able to open up the lid because it will no longer be pressurized, and then we can extract the jars. So we will see you back here in 2.5 hours. I'm going to go have some fun, and we'll see you in a little while. Vinny, you ready for some steak bites, buddy? There you go. Vinny, is that good? What do you think, buddy? Hey. I think it's Vinny approved. I ended up just taking the extras. There wasn't enough to make jerky, so I just threw them in the air fryer. 10 minutes with some olive oil and some Monterey steak seasoning. It came out pretty good. There was another unseasoned batch I gave Finnegan, and he seemed to like it a lot. So that's what happened this time. Okay, hey, what's up? Check it out, guys. It is 2.5 hours later, and we are ready to finally see this final product coming out of this canner. Let's check it out. Always stay back away behind the door when the steam's coming up. These things are still boiling. It's awesome. So we're going to take them out. Look at that. Awesome. No seepage, no overboil on this batch. Everything is good. It smells amazing. There's a tiny little bit of smell. So yeah, I like it a lot. These things are still boiling. They're awesome. I have a faint smell of just wonderfully cooked beef. These are great, man. These are awesome. Again, let me just reiterate, we've got 16 meals here. There's probably 8 pounds of meat. So that's 16 meals. You can have it over mashed potatoes, you can have it over rice, you can have it over noodles, you can have it over bread, you could have it over French fries, you could have it in enchiladas, quesadillas. I usually use quesadillas, nachos. So good, so many different ways you can have it. In today's world, putting back, meat like this, I think is just such a golden thing to do. Just so amazing. Please do this. Please get a canner. They're so cheap now. They're so easy to use. I want to highly encourage everyone, get yourself a canner. I love this canner. I'm not sponsored by this brand or anything. They're Nesco in the United States. They're Carey in Canada. It's the same canner. It's the same canner. They are less than $100 on eBay, on Amazon. I'm sorry. Pick one up, man. These things are awesome. It's so easy to put away some food for your family, have some food security, and it's good. The food is good. They make some great meals, and it's easy. And I just think it's a wonderful thing. So, huge fan of canning. You may see a couple more videos. Maybe we'll do some chicken, turkey. Hey, who knows, whatever. But watch this video. Get yourself a canner. Can some meat. Be happy. Be awesome. We love you guys. Take care. This is Troy time. I'm out. Gotta love it. Gotta do it. Later.